Hi everybody, welcome to TNT, sitting here in the rocking chair, slightly overcast day, but very pleasant indeed. Today is a bit of a show for number nerds. We're looking at statistics, a lot of people with their feelings and vibe about the changes in Thai tourism and a real drop in tourist numbers, and exactly why. Well, we're going to go to the numbers, prompted by this article that I noticed this morning in PHANG. And it asks the question, if it's not the Thai baht, then what's holding European and Chinese tourists back from Pattaya? The story focusing on Pattaya, but it's a story that you could map out across Thailand. I mean, it is the PHANG after all. Let's go to some of their main points. And just zooming through some of these, despite popular belief, the strong Thai baht alone doesn't fully explain why European and Chinese tourists are hesitant to visit Pattaya these days. That alleged strong Thai baht is something we'll discuss in a moment. Then further down, they ask the question, so if the exchange rate isn't the main culprit, what else is driving tourists to hold back? And then it goes on, high airfares from Europe, Australia and the US have made travel to Thailand more expensive. Combined with inflation within Thailand, prices for hotels, dining and daily activities have increased noticeably. And then the next paragraph, a seasoned traveller commenting on the situation said, I don't really think it's about the strong baht. It could be other factors like high ticket prices. Inflation in Thailand could also be a factor. Prices of accommodation and restaurants have gone up, and most important, the global economy, which is not very stable. So that's really just to kick us off. Over the past 3 or 4 weeks, anytime we do a story about this, people speculating with their own ideas as to why Thailand is currently suffering a drop in tourism. Some of the things that people point to, I think, are a little bit mythical. And so we'll look at some of the main things, including the Thai baht, accommodation and flights. So this first chart, and we've got plenty of them, it talks about the Thai baht, and we compare it to the US dollar, the euro, the British pound and the Australian dollar. Yes, there are plenty of other currencies out there. I just checked some of the main ones to try and sort of keep this brief. So this chart is checking 2019 average to 2024 average, and it shows that there's been a drop in the power of the Thai baht against the USD of 16%, the euro 10%, the British pound 13%, and the Australian dollar, the Thai baht's 5% weaker. And this chart just a little bit different, checking 2019 to this year to date, and it says the US dollar is nearly 20% stronger, the euro 11%, British pound 14%, the Australian dollar just nearly 5%, and the Chinese yuan 11.5% stronger than it was back in 2019. So all these numbers are comparing back to 2019. Two reasons. One, 2019 had the highest number of tourists ever coming to Thailand, and also it was the last year of full tourism before the COVID pandemic. So to the issue of accommodation, and we've done checks in Bangkok, Phuket, Chiang Mai and Pattaya. Yes, I know there's plenty of other places, but again, we've just gone for some of the main ones. And this first chart comparing prices from last year to this year to date. And you can freeze on any of these charts if you want to check the numbers more closely, but it's comparing budget hotels, mid-range hotels, luxury hotels and Airbnbs for like an entire apartment. And we can see between last year and this year, on the right side there, the changes are between plus 5% up to plus 12%. We go to Phuket and the change is more dramatic, from plus 5% up to plus 15% for Airbnbs. We check Chiang Mai up on the north of Thailand, changes from plus 10% up to plus 15%, and Pattaya from plus 8% up to plus 15%. How are you doing so far? Keeping notes? Now I've got all today's numbers from all sorts of varied sources, including the TAT, ChatGPT, Grok, DeepSeek, and also Skytrax for some numbers coming up in just a moment. These next numbers compare the same 4 locations, and we compare 2019 average to this year to date, and the rise is much more dramatic for the same sort of hotels. You can see there plus 30% up to plus 50%. In Phuket, plus 35 up to 65%. Chiang Mai even more dramatic, from 60 to 70% rise, and in Pattaya plus 50 to plus 60% rise. That's comparing accommodation costs from this year back to 2019, and we can see a significant rise right across the board in different types of accommodation and in different locations. All right, so airfares. Starting off with flights from the US, and we're just going down the page there. We've got 2019 as the baseline, then 2024 and this year to date, and we can see that back in 2019 the prices were $800 to $1,200, and they went up to $1,200 to $1,800, an increase of 50% last year, and then this year there has been around about a 5% decrease. This time we're checking out from Europe to Bangkok, and the baseline year back in 2019 average cost 600 to 1,000 euro, and it went up 50% higher by 2024, but this year the prices have dropped about 7%. Now we're checking the UK to Bangkok, again 2019, 2024, and then this year, the baseline year back in 2019, the airfare is around about 500 to 900 pounds. 2024, an increase 45%. This year, those airfares have come down about 10%. And then just checking Australia to Bangkok, 2019, it cost around about 700 to 1,100. 2024, there was a 45% increase. This year, the airfare's down about 5%. So a few points to make there. The figures were averages for airfares. I'm sure some people paid a lot more, other people found other bargains, but these are averages over a year period to show trends from 2019 to last year and this year. But with airfares, it looks like they are creeping down a little bit when compared to last year. Well, so far the first 6 months, but they are much more expensive than they were back in 2019. Same with accommodation. You can see the accommodation costs have certainly crept up, and they continue to creep up this year. Now some 40, 50, 60% higher than the accommodation costs back in 2019. But when it comes to the Thai baht, well, the Thai baht is not stronger against most currencies. Well, certainly those currencies we checked. So even if you're saving a little bit on your currency compared to the Thai baht at the moment, looks like all that's been lost on the big rises in accommodation and airfares over the last 5 or 6 years. Hopefully you found all that interesting. I'm sure the discussions will continue to rage, and the TAT, the government and the tourism associations are going to be spending a lot of time on their phones trying to figure out what they can do to lure people back to Thailand. I'm sure you will have your suggestions as well. Please subscribe to the channel, and we look forward to seeing you next time.